All right, so here's one last big problem. And again, this will be very similar to your homework. It will be broken down a little bit more in your homework, but it will have all of this stuff in there. Again, even though it says to draw the scatter plot, I'm going to skip that part. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. All right, so I'm going to calculate the correlation coefficient. So again, first thing we do in our calculators, hit stat. We're going to edit. So clear list 2 and list 1. Your X values go in list 1 and your Y values go in list 2. Be really careful here. This is not a typo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6. So there's no 5 in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6. And then over to list 2, 62, 78, 70, 90, 93. I'm going to show you this really quick. If your numbers don't match up, meaning how many are in each one, they have to match. So if I tried to go to calculate anything, it's going to say dimension mismatch. All right. So if you get that, that means you don't have the same number of numbers in your list. So make sure you go back and check that. All right. Stat, calculate. We're going to go to number 4 first. So R is approximately 0.926. And again, just by seeing that, you probably know that's pretty significant, but you still have to test it to make sure. All right, so your 5-step process. Step 1, H sub 0, rho equals 0. H sub 1, rho does not equal 0. Step 2, two-tailed test, your degrees of freedom is going to be 4 again, and it's 0.05. So in here, 2 tails, 0.05 down to 4, 2.776. You'll realize we use that number a lot. T is 0.926 times the square root of 4 over 1 minus 0.926 squared. So again, when you plug this one into your calculator, 0.926 square root 4 divided by parentheses. You have to remember to add the parentheses in the bottom. 1 minus 0.926 squared, 4.9. So that's in the critical region. So step 4 means we need to reject H sub 0. So that means it's not 0, meaning there is a significant relationship. And that relationship would be, it's easier if you graph it, so that's why a lot of times you graph it, but you shouldn't have to. Thinking about the years, and if it helps even just doing this, your years is going to go here, your cost is going to go here, and it's a positive number. So the older the copier, the higher the maintenance cost, which again makes complete sense. Okay, so calculated the correlation coefficient, tested the significance at 0.05. If it is significant, find and plot the regression line. So we're not going to plot it because we didn't do it, but we will do the regression line. So that's y prime equals, so you need to go back to your number 4, and a lot of people just write this down right away just so they don't have to keep going back and forth. 8.130, so you don't need to put that, 8.13x plus 55.565. Okay, again, if you needed to plot that, you just find 2 ordered pairs. So you would plug in 2 numbers and do that. Find the 95% prediction interval for the monthly maintenance cost of a machine that is 3 years old. So that means we need to do y prime of 3. So that would have been one of your ordered pairs probably if you needed to graph it. So you get like 79.96, so we're going to put about 80. Okay, so that means your x is 3 and your y prime is 80 when we do this. Okay, x is the number you plug in, which is 3. Y prime is the number you get out, which we're going to round to 80. All right, so stat calc 2 variable stats. We need to write all this down. We need to know x bar is 3.3. The sum of x is 20. The sum of x squared is 82. The sum of y is 496. The sum of y squared is 42,186. And finally, the sum of xy is 1778. Okay, so again, to do the prediction interval, it doesn't tell us to find the standard error of the estimate. You just have to remember to do that because it is in the prediction interval. So standard error of the estimate is going to be square root sum of y squared, 42186, minus b, 55.565, times the sum of y, which is 496, minus a, which is 8.13, times the sum of xy, which was 1778, all over 4. Okay, so again, when you type this in, when you do your square root, those of you whose square roots grow, you don't really need this extra parenthesis, but you might want to put in there just to do it. So you have your parenthesis, 42186 minus 55.565 times 496 minus 8.13 times 1778, parenthesis divided by 4, parenthesis. We're going to say 6.5, but I don't know if that's right. Okay, yeah. Yep, 6.5. Okay, and again, if you do 6.53, 6.531, it doesn't matter. However you want to round it is fine, at least to the nearest tenth. All right, so the more you round it, the more accurate you will be, but I'm fine if you just round it to 1 decimal place. The only thing that needs to be 3, just because that's the rule, is your R value, your A, and your B. But again, this was a 0, that's why I didn't put it there. Okay, now we can finally do our prediction interval. So y prime is 80. Again, that's the one that we usually forget, and that's just what you get when you plug in your x value. Plus or minus 95% prediction intervals, 2.776 times 6.5 times the square root of 1 plus 1 over 6 plus 6 times x is 3 minus 3.3. That whole thing is squared over 6 times the sum of x squared is 82 minus the sum of x, which is 20 squared. All right. Again, the only extra parentheses you need is around that whole bottom part. So 80 minus 2.776 times 6.5 times the square root, 1 plus 1 over 6 plus 6 times 3 minus 3.3 parentheses squared divided by parentheses 6 times 82 minus 20 squared parentheses, technically parentheses, but it'll work even if you don't put it. 60.46 is less than y, which is less than, second enter, plus 99.54. Okay, so what that means is you could be 95% confident that a copier that is 3 years old would have a monthly maintenance fee between, I'm going to say $60 and $100. Okay, so again, if you just did a point estimate, it would be $80. So instead, we're going to say between 60 and 100 by doing our interval estimate. Last thing, again, it's not going to ask you for marginal change on the homework, but it will on the test. All right, so the marginal change is just your slope, so that's 8.13. But what does that mean? Okay, what that means is for each increase in 1 year, well, I'm going to even do this. For every year the copier is, you can expect an increase of $8.13 per month of maintenance. So again, the X value went up by 1 year. The Y value went up by $8.13. So for every year older the copier is, you can expect $8.13 per month more of your maintenance fee. Okay, that is it for Chapter 10. There will be a couple practice problems, and there's also an extra credit opportunity as well. And so you can see there's not a ton on the test, but just all the calculator stuff is what gets pretty scary, so you're going to want to practice that.